All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, week number 2 in the National Football League season is upon us, and we saw a very exciting game this past Thursday night as it was Washington that got the best of the New York Football Giants by the score of 30-29 on a last second field goal from Dustin Hopkins. Now, with that said, there are plenty of good games on tap for tomorrow, as well as a Monday night affair. And with that said, here are my picks for week number 2 in the NFL season. Now, you look at the Cincinnati Bengals, fresh off of their comeback overtime win last week versus the Minnesota Vikings. They're looking to build off of that. And they're facing a Bears team that has their first home game of the year, and they want to get some momentum for themselves. The Bears had a tough go at it last Sunday night versus the Rams. And you look at this game, and I know the Chicago comes in favored by 1.5 points, but I really like what Cincinnati's doing in this game. I love the momentum that they have. And this team believes in Joe Burrow. You look on the flip side for the Bears, they're going with Andy Dalton again. But at some point, Dalton is going to give way to the rookie Justin Fields. And you look at what happened last Sunday. Dalton did not play good. I know that it was the Rams, and I know that the Rams have one of the better defenses in the NFL. But I guarantee you this: if Dalton plays like he did last week versus the Rams, you're going to hear the boo birds at Soldier Field, and you're going to hear the people really clamoring for Justin Fields. Nonetheless, I'm going to take Cincinnati in this game by the score of 24-20. Now, you're going to have the Cleveland Browns looking to get on track as they host the Houston Texans. And for Cleveland, it's the same old song. They played well enough to beat Kansas City last week, but they still lost. Still no OBJ at wide receiver, but the bottom line is the Browns have to focus on their running game with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. On the flip side for the Texans, they have plenty of confidence right now. And this team believes in Tyrod Taylor, and it's kind of like an us against the world mentality. I know that Cleveland is heavily favored in this contest. They come in favored by 13.5 points. I think they will cover, but it's a situation where Houston's not going to roll over. They're going to have to work for it, but I'm going to take the Browns by the score of 34-20. Now in Indy, you're going to have the 0-1 Indianapolis Colts hosting the 1-0 Los Angeles Rams. And if you're Indianapolis, you just had to deal with a tough Seattle team at home last week. Now you have to face the Rams. And the thing is, it's the same old song as it was in Philadelphia for Carson Wentz at quarterback. It's the inconsistencies. And now you have to deal with that Rams pass rush led by Aaron Donald. Not a good recipe for success if you're the Colts. They're going to start 0-2, and more importantly, they're going to start 0-2 at home. I'm going to take Los Angeles in this game by the score of 31-17. Now, down in South Florida, a big AFC East showdown as you have the 0-1 Buffalo Bills traveling to take on the 1-0 Miami Dolphins. And this game is so important for both clubs. Miami is looking to start off 2-0 in the division, while Buffalo is looking to avoid an 0-2 start after they won this division last year. And for Buffalo, it was a heartbreaking loss last week at home versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Buffalo got away from what they were doing best, which was running the football. So I think you're going to see a heavier dose of Devin Singletary in this contest. But on the flip side for Miami, some of the problems that hurt Tua Tagovailoa at quarterback last year as a rookie are still rearing their head up. And we saw a lot of unforced errors last week versus the New England Patriots. And the thing that what bailed out Tua was the turnovers by New England, because Miami could have easily lost that game. I don't think the Dolphins and Tua are going to be as fortunate this time. I think Buffalo's defense is up for the challenge, and I think their offense plays more crisp. Thus, I'm going to take the Bills on the road by the score of 27-17. Now, at the Meadowlands, you are going to have the 0-1 New York Jets hosting the 0-1 New England Patriots. And for both of these clubs, it's a new era at quarterback. Of course, Mac Jones for the Pats, and of course, Zach Wilson for the Jets. Zach Wilson did have his ups and downs last week versus Carolina, and he ran into a buzzsaw. And Mac Jones did show a lot of signs of flashes of prominence rather that he can build upon for his NFL career as well. I think the Patriots are going to look to build off of that. You look at Mac Jones, and I think, like I said before last week, it's the familiarity with the system because Nick Saban runs a very similar system down in Tuscaloosa, and this is exactly what Mac Jones came into with the Patriots, and of course Bill Belichick, and more importantly Josh McDaniels as his offensive coordinator. I think the Patriots are going to mix it up. They're going to get the running game going. They're going to put Mac Jones in spots where he can succeed. And on the flip side, if you're Zach Wilson, good luck because now in just your second start as an NFL quarterback, you have to worry about having to deal with Bill Belichick on the other side. And we've seen what Belichick has done throughout his illustrious coaching career in regards to confusing young quarterbacks. I think this game is no different from that. And because of that, I'm going to take New England on the road by the score of 26-17. Now in Philly, you're going to have the 1-0 Eagles hosting the 1-0 San Francisco 49ers. And for San Fran, they're looking to go 2-0 and also 2-0 on the road to begin the season. Now, Jalen Hurts looked very sharp at quarterback last week for Philly. It's going to be a little bit more difficult this week because the San Fran defense is a lot more game than that Atlanta defense. But I want to see what this Eagles front on their defensive line is going to do. The 49ers do have some injuries at running back. No Raheem Mostert, he's lost for the season. And, the Niners really pride themselves in that running game. But Jimmy Garoppolo looked sharp last week. And I said all preseason long that Jimmy G is going to have a big season because he knows that Trey Lance is coming. This is going to be a back and forth game, but I think the Niners have enough to escape the city of brotherly love with a victory. Thus, I'm going to take San Fran by the score of 27-23. Now in Pittsburgh, the Steelers are going to have their home opener as they host the Las Vegas Raiders. Got to get accustomed to saying that. I know it's been a few years, but nonetheless, the Raiders come into this game with a lot of momentum. They had their big home win, first time with fans in Vegas on Monday night, but they also have a short week now as they're looking to come back east and try to get another win versus an AFC North club. It's not going to be easy. You look at Pittsburgh, their defense was up for the challenge last week. Their special teams was up for the challenge. Big Ben did not play well, but he played well when he had to. And I think the theme for the Steelers this season is going to be unfinished business. They started off strong last year and they faded at the end. I think Pittsburgh starts strong in this season. They got a big win on the road last week, and I think they take care of business tomorrow. That's why I'm going to take the black and gold by the score of 31-20. Now, down in Charlotte, a battle of NFC South rivals is you're going to have the Carolina Panthers hosting the New Orleans Saints. And for New Orleans, they looked sharp last week. They clicked on all phases of the game as they dominated the Green Bay Packers in Jacksonville. Most importantly, Jameis Winston looked like a different quarterback. And I think Jameis, and I've said it before, Jameis has something to prove this season. And I think it's not going to stop with this game. The Saints really can run the football. It takes a lot of pressure off of Jameis Winston. And you look at this defense. Sam Darnold has struggled with top-tier defenses throughout his NFL career. I think this contest is no different. Thus, I'm going to take New Orleans on the road by the score of 30-20. Now, down in Jacksonville, you're going to have the winless Jaguars hosting the Denver Broncos. And Denver got a big road win last week in New York versus the Giants, while the Jaguars, plain and simple, looked hapless. And now you have rookie quarterback Trevor Lawrence, who is asked to go up against that ferocious Broncos front led by veteran edge rusher Von Miller. It's going to be a very long day for Trevor Lawrence and an even longer day for Urban Meyer because he's going to have to deal with questions about potentially going to USC. But I'm going to take Denver in this one by the score of 30-17. Now, out in the desert, you're going to have the Minnesota Vikings traveling to take on the Arizona Cardinals. And the Cardinals are looking to build off of that big win that they got last week on the road versus the Tennessee Titans, while the Vikings, they suffered some big-time heartbreak last week in the Queen City versus the Bengals. Dalvin Cook is a solid runner, but it's all about ball security, and he's had those questions throughout his NFL career. But the biggest thing is this Vikings defense. Will they be able to slow down this Cardinals passing game? We saw the elusiveness of Kyler Murray last week, and if you give Kyler Murray an extra second, he's going to find the likes of DeAndre Hopkins and AJ Green open down the field. This Cardinals team, they fell short of making the postseason last year. I don't think that's going to be the case this year, and I think they take care of business tomorrow with a 31-24 victory at home. Now, you're going to have the defending Super Bowl champs, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, hosting the Atlanta Falcons. Tampa Bay comes into this game favored by 12.5 points, and for good reason, because there are a lot of people that don't expect that much from Atlanta this season. But for Tampa Bay, they have to play more crisp. I know that Dallas really gave them a run for their money last week, and I think Tampa Bay is going to go out there and try to take care of business early in this game. Ball security was questionable for the Bucs last week, and they had some miscues on defense as well. I think having a few extra days to get prepared for this one will allow the Bucs to be more like just crisper. The bottom line is they're just going to be crisp on all phases of the game, and I'm going to take Tampa Bay at home by the score of 34-20. Now, out in Los Angeles, you are going to have the Chargers hosting the Dallas Cowboys. Now, LA comes in this game favored by 3 points. But you look at Dallas, and Dallas over the years, the bigger the game, the better they play. And we saw that last week versus the Bucs when they fell short. Dallas really had a great opportunity to win that game. And for some people, they really should have won that game. But Dallas is looking to avoid going 0-2. And, they want to try to get some footing under themselves as they go into the season. Dak Prescott was sharp. It's going to be important for this Cowboys offensive line to protect him from this Chargers pass rush. On the flip side, Justin Herbert, the thing is, this guy is a real deal. He's a solid passer, and this Dallas secondary is going to have to really bring it if their team is going to win. But like I said, these are the type of games that Dallas just comes up and finds a way to play close. And if the Cowboys keep it close, I think they find a way to win it late. I'm going to take Dallas by the score of 30-24. Now, in Seattle, you're going to have the Seahawks with their home opener as they host the Tennessee Titans. And for the Titans, I know that they made the move to get Julio Jones from the Atlanta Falcons in the offseason, but the bottom line is this team's bread is still buttered by running back Derrick Henry. And if you look in Henry's last 2 games, he has not been able to get it going. The playoff loss at home to the Baltimore Ravens, and then last Sunday versus the Arizona Cardinals. What you are seeing now is you're seeing opposing defenses stacking the box and basically daring Ryan Tannehill to beat them with his arm, and he has been unable to do it. So this Tennessee offense, they have to find a way to get going, get King Henry going. And if they don't, it's going to be a long afternoon. I don't think that the Titans can do enough offensively to get Henry going in this contest in order to beat Seattle. And thus, I'm going to take the Seahawks at home by the score of 30-24. Now, tomorrow night, it's a battle of playoff favorites in the AFC as you're going to have the Kansas City Chiefs traveling to take on the Baltimore Ravens. And for Baltimore, they have to find a way to put that heartbreaking loss to the Raiders behind them. We know about the injuries that the Ravens have at running back right now. I know that they just picked up Devonta Freeman, trying to like kind of spell things, but you're asking a lot from a veteran back to come up and kind of get caught up to speed so quick. But on the flip side with the Kansas City Chiefs, they got down early, but we've seen in recent years this team has what it takes to come back and win. They're not scared of being in adverse situations. And when you have a battle-tested team like that, it's very tough to stop. I know that we saw the Chiefs get dominated in the Super Bowl when they lost a couple of months ago to Tampa Bay, but everybody doesn't have the personnel that Tampa Bay does. Baltimore doesn't, and thus I'm going to take Kansas City on the road in this game by the score of 34-23. And finally, on Monday Night Football, it's a pair of NFC North rivals looking to get their first win of the season, as you're going to have the Detroit Lions traveling to a historic Lambeau Field to take on the Green Bay Packers. And for Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers, they could not have played any worse than they did last Sunday. But as bad as they played, it only counts for one loss in the loss column, and you still have 16 more games to go. For Detroit, they got down early last week at home versus San Francisco. They came back and made it a game, but they ran out of gas at the end. And one thing you can say about Matt Campbell's teams, or Dan Campbell's teams, excuse me, is that they play hard. I think the Lions will play hard in this game, but the Packers are the better team. I think they go out there and dictate the pace early on and put the Lions in chase position. Green Bay comes into this game favored by 11 and a half, rather. I would take the under if I'm a betting guy, and I'm going to take the Packers at home by the score of 34-24. So, folks, those are my picks for week number 2 of the NFL season. And as always, I want to take the time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take the time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.